G'day, everybody, and well, hey, Gesundheit, Vitalik. Welcome everybody to the Crypto Happy Hour, and g'day to my old mates Space Radiant and 43 OG. How you guys going?
Hey, good.
Good.
How you going, mate?
Had a pretty good week in Hexico. I'm just gonna pop the cork to celebrate.
Hey, chin chin.
Cheers, gents. No, we've seen some massive green dillies this week. Hex has been on a tear. PulseChain has just been rocketing. All coins going up in the Richard Hart ecosphere. And
Money printer back on.
Yeah, money printer goes burr. 50 basis point interest rate cut for the US Fed. And yeah, it's go time. So I'm pretty excited.
So is that what they call the pivot?
That is the pivot. That is the pivots from, what was it? Hawkish to dovish, or whatever they say, the TradFi bros. But yeah, and I guess it's interesting, isn't it, with that whole interest rate cut, because a lot of people thought maybe it was going to be only a 0.25%, and then they went for the 0.5% cut. So on one side of the coin, it means that the US economy is not doing terribly well, that they have to cut the full 0.5%. And then on the other side, it's like maybe there's going to be people are going to start to transition to more risk on assets, stocks and cryptos, and you're going to start to see that global liquidity kind of money filter into more risk on assets. So good for us, crypto degenerates.
Absolutely. Great for us.
So that's the theory.
When you think about them dropping the rates by 0.5% this close to a US election, you have to like also wonder, it's like, does this in some way, like that has to help the incumbent. It has to.
Yeah. So somebody talks about this.
It relieves a lot of pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to Somi. He was saying that there's some stat where it's like, if the stock market is doing well sort of 90 days before an election, historically, the incumbent maintains power through the election. So it's kind of a standard play, I guess, to just, flood the markets with liquidity going into an election. But maybe there's some other things at play. Maybe people are now sort of, well, I've sort of been wondering, and I think a few other people have been wondering, this is at least the second Trump assassination attempt that happened this week, if not the third. Like there was a few. So there was the guy in the bushes at the golf course, and there was reports of other things as well that have been going down. It's like people are starting to wonder why they're trying so hard to kill him. Like, what's going on? Maybe he might actually not be part of this sort of deep state cabal. The cabal. Anything we don't understand or don't know that's shady. Like, cabal.
But if you even say that, like if you are even to mention that in a regular conversation, people like really turn around and say, yeah, it's not like a conspiracy to kill him. They're not,
Yeah, that's
people are cheering it on.
That's even more bizarre. That's crazy, isn't it? That people would actually say, "Oh, we should have to hit him" or something. It's like, are you mad? Like, one, that's a horrible thing to say, that you would wish anyone like death just because you don't agree with them. And then two, like, what?
Just because the guy likes to touch pussies. Like that's what it comes down to. You ask any left-leaning, seriously, you ask any left-leaning person, and the things that they will go to is like, well, he said that he grabbed pussies. Like, that's what they'll go to. It's like, he's vulgar, he's like whatever. It's like, have you spoken to any guy when there's no women around? That's what dudes talk about. That's what, like,
the entirety of the.
You don't have to agree, guys, right now. You don't have to nod and agree with me, but we know.
I was going to push back and say there's an element of consent there, right? That you have to be,
Yeah.
nothing,
Of course.
nothing wrong with that. But it's consent is the key.
Agree.
But
Fully agree.
yeah, but the thing is that sort of stuff is like secondhand, third hand, Chinese whispers type stuff where people kind of, it's like, it's really hard to believe when you have someone with so much power and so much money. Sometimes people can just be in it for the lawsuits and things like that. So it'd be nice if there was some evidence or whatever. I mean, I don't know.
No, he actually said it. No,
he said it.
He said it. He said it. That's what I'm saying.
In a like.
But what was the
studio
context?
Trailer.
What was the context?
Someone was mic'd and he didn't realize, and he's trying to like win him over and like all these hot girls and like, oh yeah. I can't remember exactly, so I don't want to get it.
It was before he was. It was from years ago. It wasn't even like when he was a candidate or anything. It was from years ago.
Yeah,
I guess that's what people will point to as why he's not a suitable. Why he's not a suitable candidate. And
I would sort of say it's not really about the popularity of the person at the top of the level. It's the policies of the party that are more important. You can not like someone but still their personality or whatever, but still agree with some of their policies, and vice versa. So really it's about the policies. Like that's what. But anyway, we don't vote. We're Australians here, so I probably can't get on the bandwagon too much. But when people start talking about the conspiracy stuff, and they say, oh, that's all conspiracy or whatever, deep state, I sort of think, well, it depends on your definition, right? Because if you just define the deep state as just unelected, maybe government sort of bodies or pseudo government bodies that can affect, maybe bureaucrats that can actually affect your day to day, like the Federal Reserve. What else do you call them? Like they're not part of the government. They're not actually federal. So it's a pseudo form of government, but they drive everything. I mean, you saw with this interest rate cut how much that all the markets are waiting on what that power guy was going to do. So they have a huge influence, whether you like it or not. And you can call that deep state, or you can call it something else, pseudo government. It might be a more sanitized term. But we should say hello to the chat, maybe. What is up, class?
Hello, chat.
Hello. Smash the like on entry. Thank you very much, Claz. Time to start shameless shilling PulseChain.com. Yeah, we've stepped it up on X. I've just been retweeting and just going crazy. It's nice to have some green candles, I think, is the key there.
Yeah. Relief.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because I was trying to onboard this guy. And who I sort of met through work, and he was talking about doing leverage trading on just like coins and stuff, and I'm like, bruh, like just buy some hex and thank me later, and he's like, oh yeah, fair enough. And then I sort of tried to explain the whole E-hex, P-hex thing, and then I was like, just get both, right? And then so get like 1 million of both. And then when it goes to $1, either one, P-hex or E-hex, will go to $1, and then you have $1 million. Done. And he was just like, yeah. And then he started messaging me, and he was like, oh, wow, hex is up 25%. And I was like, 25%? Come on. That's nothing. That's just,
We're looking for X's.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, so it's up 65%. And I was like, bro, come on. I was doing the Trump look.
It's like it's not even the first double, bro. You wait. Wait.
That's it. And then it got to like 95% up, or maybe it did a 2x. I can't remember. And he's texting me and stuff, and he goes, "Oh, how much are you up? How much are you in profit?" And I was like, "Profit? What? I didn't say I was in profit. I just said it's up." Like. It's so funny because he just assumed that I just bought the absolute bottom. But anyway, it's how you reduce your cost basis, people. You've got to buy these lows, eh?
Yeah.
What is up, Mango? What's that, man?
We got some pumping to do, but
yeah,
it's looking good for now.
Yep. It is the start. And Quinny Jin, yo. Sorry for jinxing it, everybody. Someone was bound to do it. Hexagon lost in Asia. Happy pump week, everyone. Yeah. My deck screener wasn't working before. So I was going to pull up the actual chart and just be like, check out this giant green dildo. But yeah, technical problems. Dingo Wolf, what is up? Finn Bear's in the house. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining us. Deranged Trumpsters will literally call you a bigot because you want to vote for him. Yeah, it's hectic, eh? Oh, no True Blue today. Yeah, that's sad.
Oh,
He'll be back next week.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're only 6 doubles from all-time highs. It's not that far away.
6 doubles.
6 doubles from all-time highs.
That's right.
There you go.
You can sell on a double 6 more times.
And then on, yeah.
Speaking of which, there was a Richard Hart video with, I think, that Crypto Beatles guy I was going to bring up. Let me just see. Maybe give me some thumbs up if you can hear this.
You saw the Fed just cut the basis points.
So this is
like
from ages ago,
right?
Oh,
So
2008.
25 basis points. What do you think that's going to do to crypto? What do you think that's going to do for the market? What do you think it's going to do for traders? All that kind of stuff.
I think now I'm not a bonds trader. I'm not a treasuries trader. I only lightly have cared about the interest rate because it just hasn't mattered to crypto very much because we haven't had a rate cut in 10 years. So, and crypto's only 10 years old. So it just hasn't been my focus. I can tell you that lower interest rates in general means cheaper money, in general means lower rates of return for money that is saved, in general means hunting yield in securities. So when you cut interest rates, it puts more money on the market and reduces the desire for people to want to lend their money out and say they still need to get yield to stay ahead of inflation. So that more goes into securities. So anytime you print more money by lowering inflation rates, you're going to end up with higher security prices. Now, what's counterintuitive, like trading so often is that the market's dumped on the rate cut, perhaps because they expected a larger rate cut. So it was already front run, but I believe it already has recovered most of that drop. And when you print more money, securities are going to go up in value. If people could get a 12% return on their savings account like they could in the 1970s, equities would be harmed because why would you get 10% equities with risk when you could put it in a savings account at 12% with no risk? So this expansionary quantitative easing helicopter money will drive the price of all things, not fiat currency, up. So anything that you can't just print will go up in value when you're denominating that value in dollars. Gold will go up, stocks will go up, Bitcoin will go up, everything will go up.
Interesting. I mean, that's from 2008, right? So
2008 or 18?
Oh, sorry, 2018. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. That was just probably a typo. But shout out to Mrs. Hexagon for adding that. Or maybe she was saying that the last interest rate cut by 50 basis points was in 2008. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
anyway,
could be.
Shout out to her for that video. I've seen that before with Crypto Beatles, but it's a good refresher. It was kind of interesting because what Richard was saying there is that sometimes if they cut it by, say, 25 basis points, and then the market was expecting the 50, then it can dump because it's like not enough. So this way, I think they're trying to do the pivot, but so that they get the soft landing, so they don't actually have people just panicking. Even though the inflation has come down, but the unemployment is still quite high over there. So, and then you got to wonder as well, how much are they manipulating these numbers anyway, right? Like the CPI obviously depends on the market basket that they choose. And then the unemployment rates, maybe they can fudge those a little bit as well.
I honestly believe it has something to do with the election as well. Like I know that's not supposed to be linked to that, but if they're trying to shoot that guy to make him like not a candidate anymore, they're going to try everything. There's going to be like whatever they can do or manipulate to make the incumbent, more likely to be the victor. I think they're going to do. And, once again, tinfoil hat, but there you go.
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, they had a guy in the bushes with a rifle waiting for Trump to do his golf. And the only people who knew that Trump had golf at that particular course on that day were like his crew, like the Secret Service, the CIA. So someone in the state has leaked that information. And then the guy is in a BlackRock commercial.
An ad. Like
right?
the other guy who was tried as well.
Yep.
I forgot 100%. The name of that location.
That's not exactly correct. He's in something adjacent. It's like it's linked to that. It's not he's not in an actual BlackRock commercial. He's in something else that I think is backed by BlackRock or something like that. But there's a connection there. There's definitely a connection.
There's connection. Bro, the guy apparently before they scrubbed his Facebook, right, which is also sus, that the guy's Facebook was scrubbed. Before they did that, people were taking screenshots of their friends list, and there was a guy in one of his friends. I can't remember who was saying it, but there was at least I think 2, but definitely one was pretty high up in the CIA. Like he was a CIA like doxed CIA operative. So it's like, you've got a friend who's in the CIA, and you got 2 friends out of 100 in your. This is cool and normal. Like, yep, everyone has this. It's just a bit sus, man.
A lot of people are becoming very disillusioned with everything, I think. I mean, people are realizing that the media is just corporate mouthpieces. And people are sick of it, I think. I think that is a real sentiment that is just growing, and they're panicking or losing.
There's a real push around the world.
Yeah.
There's a real push around the world for misinformation, disinformation,
they want to
shutting all that stuff down. Well, if you look in the UK and just think about like which countries around the world have a shared ideals as Australians, you would say that the top countries would be the UK, the US, New Zealand. Like these are the countries that you could go live there and say, well, a lot of the stuff, like the bureaucracy, a lot of everything sort of works in a similar way as compared to if I went to live in Indonesia, for example. So these countries are the ones that seem to be pushing this narrative, and it's coming from the political class, that anything that's published online needs to be verified as fact. Now, I've got no problem with people trying to verify whether something online has been published is fact or fiction. The question is who gets to do the verifying.
Yes.
And who, like that's the question. Like if it's a government or a government funded body,
100%.
then they're just going to eventually, it's going to become corrupt. Right. So I'm adverse to any sort of new system that's going to push us in that direction. I think the best way is just to have all the misinformation and disinformation out there, but then people call it out for what and have the discussion, and just let the people do it. Let the people have the discussion, and don't try and shut us down and then say that only politicians are exempt from those laws, which is laughable. And also only legacy media are exempt from those laws, but the average person is not exempt from those laws. And what it means is it sets up a 2-tier system where there's one rule for thee and another rule for thee.
Yeah.
What did I say? Thee twice.
Me and thee. Yeah.
Me and thee. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing about privacy, isn't it? Where they say, oh, well, if you've got nothing to hide, then you don't need any privacy. And then you go, oh yeah, cool. Do you want to show me all your government emails then? And they're like, oh no, we need privacy, but you guys don't. And that's that thing where you just go,
yeah. Hillary Clinton during the week came out and started mouthing the same talking points,
same thing,
like the misinformation, disinformation talking points that we're discussing here in Australia. And it's like, yeah, you were deleting emails on a server you had at home. Where's this transparency?
It's so crazy.
The hypocrisy. The hypocrisy it's obscene. It's absolutely obscene by these people who are no longer acting like politicians. They're acting like rulers. They are acting like rulers.
Like dictatorship, where it just goes, oh no, you can't say certain things. I mean, the freedom of speech, I know, is a constitutional right in the US, but not in Australia. But
there's an implied right.
Yeah, there's an implied right. And I don't like, Albo coming out and saying, oh, well, if Twitter doesn't, whatever, basically conform to whatever his whim is about this, misinformation, then he's going to fine them 5% of the global revenue, like not the Australian revenue, but the global revenue. It's like, are you serious? You can't possibly think that you deserve a portion of global revenue when you're only talking about how it affects, our country. Like even as an Australian, I think that is ludicrous. I cannot believe that he could say that with a straight face. So,
you guys familiar with Julius Caesar and how he met his demise?
Yes. Yeah. All the senators grouped up and behind the scenes.
But why? Why did they group up and do that? Well, they grouped up and did that because he was acting like a king. He started acting like a king, like a ruler.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that politicians and anyone who holds public office needs to remember you're there to serve the people. You're there to, do what's best for the people. And, doing telling people that they have to shut the fuck up. You're not doing me a service. You're doing me a disservice, regardless of what it is I want to say. Regardless.
How's this Trading Lounge? If you want a successful channel, stay on topic of crypto. Bro, I don't give a fuck. You can do whatever you want. Switch it off. Go do whatever you want. Like, you don't have to listen to us. I don't care. We're going to talk about what we're going to talk about.
Can I just tie a bow around this, why this is important and why it matters to crypto? Because that person who wrote that message maybe is so tied up in the whole money side of crypto that they've forgotten, or maybe they don't even realize that the whole censorship resistant nature of blockchain and the fact that you can publish things that are uncensorable is at the heart of why crypto is special. It's special because of that very reason. Like the money, the price go up is awesome. Like, don't get me wrong, that is awesome. But at the very heart of what crypto is here for, and the reason I think it's going to continue to be here for a very, very long time, is that it's uncensorable.
Yeah. That's the ethos behind it, isn't it? It's that it's permissionless, peer-to-peer, uncensorable. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, if people want to gamble on DGen stuff or whatever, then go for it. But
I probably shouldn't say uncensorable. Sorry to cut in. That's probably wrong. Censorship resistant is the right term. It's resistant to censorship, but everything can get censored.
Seized, but
yeah,
no one can stop.
You can still have airstrikes.
You can make a new wallet at any given time. You don't need to ask someone permission.
Yes,
you can. And fund it up however you manage to do that. And you have the freedom to transact pseudonymously.
Yep. Yeah,
you can provide service. You don't have to connect an exchange account. You can provide a service for crypto. Like that is an option. So you can create a wallet without anyone, just with Matt's, right? Without anyone's approval,
Offline
without
too.
anyone's, offline, without anyone's, giving you the tick of approval or giving you permission to do so. You can do it yourself. And then someone can pay you. Someone can pay you for your services with crypto into the wallet that you've created yourself. And no one can stop that. Like that's they can't stop it. They can come and seize it. They can come and, if you're doing something wrong and they come to your house and they, take all your computers and take all your seed phrases, they can seize it, of course. But that's, when you get to that point, I think your problems are bigger than whether crypto is good or not.
Yeah, and look, there's another thing, I suppose, this idea that we have to talk about crypto, for the whole stream or whatever. If you want something like that, and you listen to crypto banter or whatever, you're probably at a pretty, I'm going to say, novice level of crypto, because that's what everyone does at the start, right? And then you think, oh, well, this guy Rand's talking about X coin XYZ. I'm going to chase this pump or whatever. And then you don't realize that they've been given an allocation and they're literally dumping on you in real time during the stream. And it might take you like years to figure that out. But that's what all of these LARPs are doing. All of the crypto guys, the influencers out there, they have those coins and they're literally getting paid to shill. So you can consume that stuff. And if you want it, if you need that dopamine hit where you need a new coin every day, you're just not going to make it. Like that's just not the way to do it. So most of the people who watch this, they know we're talking about Hex, we're talking about PulseChain, we're talking about maybe Ink, PulseX. There's a few others, of course. There's the the Icosa, the Maxi, the Deci, all that sort of stuff. There's a few meme coin things out there that you might want to dabble in. But it's like, yeah, you want to buy dips, get your position, and then wait for the things to start. But there's no good just hopping around from coin to coin to coin. So
I would love to see a Hex chart, though. I have to say, like I know that we don't. I would. Can we see a Hex chart, or is it? Or is Cloudflare? Are they being?
Nah, it's Dex Screener's not working. It's literally.
What, can we go somewhere else?
I can go Dex Tools or something. Yeah.
What about InvestX? Is that still working?
It's just slightly painful because this is what I'm getting with Dex Screener. So, yeah, it's just not. It's not verifying me as a human. But yeah, I mean, you can see Pulse there. This is on Dex Tools. I don't have, unfortunately, all of my lines of resistance and things like that, but I can pretty much do it in real time. But yeah, it's up. It's 404183, and we were talking about the lows down at 40319. So
log scale, my friend, log scale.
Log, yeah. So this is the thing, is because I'm not set up for Dex Tools. All of this shit isn't set up. So basically, there was a few things. Okay, well, maybe what we should do, if you want to talk charts, you got to talk top down. So let's just have a look at BTC, because TradingView still works. And there was a couple of lines of resistance, and then that turned into support during the week that I called fairly hard. Have we lost 43? He's asked me to look at the charts, and then he's just jogged on. He's gone for a cigar.
Yeah, gone for a cigar.
That's cool. So True Blue will know exactly what I'm talking about here, because I was saying that this BTC level here at 54K, I really didn't want to see it close below that, because this is when it was coming down, right? And it wicked down, and I just basically sort of said, yeah, I didn't want to see it make a lower low. And then obviously someone else didn't as well, because literally closed exactly on that line and then bounced off it. So this was a pretty hectic sort of trend reversal for BTC when it went down to 54K. And there's also another line here of obvious support, which is 58K. I think everyone knows, because if you've been paying attention for like the last 6 weeks, you've probably heard 58K being tested many, many times. So it got tested 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th time it closed below it, it went down, and then it basically went back up through that sort of weekly line of resistance or support. And then on the daily, it went down and retested it. So this to me was like the perfect setup where I was like, they defended this lower low. It went through a long time frame resistance, pulled back, retested it perfectly. So right about here, Tuesday the 17th, I was like, let's go. And, you know, on the daily above the 20 SMA, the 10 was above the 20. So this setup was a no-brainer for me. And I was like, let's just see what happens here. And that's just in Bitcoin. It's up 9.1%. So everything kind of flowed on from there. Like Ethereum had a very similar bounce around the same time frame. Sol as well. Tron, not so much. So then that's interesting when you start looking at, like, so ETH BTC. If you go log on the weekly, this ETH BTC had been getting to the bottom of that channel. So I was sort of thinking, yeah, either it's going to break down or we're going to see a little bit of a bounce here. So ETH might start to outperform Bitcoin just for the interim to get it back into the sort of middle of that channel. But it really has got a long way to go for it to get above that channel. And I mean, Vitalik's been dumping, like even after he said he did that last, you know, he was saying that was just was a TWAP on CowSwap, you know. And
yeah,
ages ago.
Last show, I think we talked about it.
Yeah, and he's just like going, oh, no. That was the last time.
Just a limit order.
Yeah, and then he's been selling again. So, yeah, there was some, I think it was Somi that said, and the Ethereum Foundation as well.
Yeah, the Ethereum Foundation is doing it too.
There was a wallet related to Vitalik's that was selling, and then there was also the Ethereum Foundation. So it's like, these guys, I don't know what they're thinking.
Maybe they're building something. Who knows?
I think they've got to pay their wages, man.
Yeah, they got to eat, pay rent.
That's right. And did you see Vitalik doing his song at that Token 2049 conference thing?
I know the conference was going on in Singapore, right?
Or maybe he was singing somewhere else. I don't know, but he was singing somewhere during the week.
He's always doing something. Like he was doing the Badger one years back. Man. And he's just, it's so cringe.
It's like super cringe. It's like, I know we're crypto.
Hey, I mean, when you got that kind of, you know, weight behind you in terms of like, I don't care. I don't give a flip. Decentralized money, wealth.
I don't know.
Leader of a project. I don't know.
What makes him break out into song though? Singing in Japanese about kitties and shit. It's like, bro, we need Richard Hart back. Like
we do, yeah. We need some more testosterone.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what we need. Just need to kick it up, give it a blast with the Spice Weasel. Bam. So yeah, there was a few things I was going to say apart from the charts. There was an interesting one on Look On Chain, Pump.Fun on Solana. They had sold $1.3 million, and then they had already sold in total $42 million worth of Sol, So it's not just the Ethereum Foundation as well. Like this pumped up fun guys, and some of those coins were lasting like 2 hours. That's the type of stuff that Trading Lounge is into.
VC backed.
Yeah, that's
money
right.
Pump, all dump coins.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. So those guys are rugging in 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
Hopping from coin to coin. These guys are profiting huge amounts, and they're just taking it. They're just cashing out $43 million here. Total revenue, $95 million. So they're the only ones making money from that stuff.
Absolutely. And like people, they think that's all crypto is. And they think, oh, if I can get out before they get out, like I'll have a good couple X. And they just get dumped on it. Like 2 hours these coins last for some of them.
It's a joke.
It's silly. Like there's real product market fit stuff out there to put your capital into that will last for years. And you can do the whole Bitcoin thing of like, oh, I forgot I had a wallet, come back 3-4 years later and you're up heavy. Take a bit off the top and ride the rest out. I think, I don't know. I don't know.
No,
you can
I
only
know
educate
it's like
people so much.
It's like it's the delayed gratification, basically. If you can, if you're willing to treat it as a genuine investment vehicle, like a time deposit or an actual investment, like real estate, that doesn't go up in 2 days. Yeah, you buy a house. What are you going to do? Sell it in a week's time? No, you got to keep it for like 10 years. And then you're like, I made some profit. That's what investing's about. That little intraday, day trading stuff, it's fine for a bit of fun, but it's gambling. It's sort of different. So this is interesting. Red Squirrel said, we need to step away from viewing crypto in terms of dollars, transacting crypto directly, or we'll be forever trapped. Yeah, I mean, that's why I like to look at the ratios, right?
Yeah.
So
and units.
And units, exactly. Stack units. So when you're looking at, ETH BTC, you're sort of saying, well, maybe you're better off in BTC because Ethereum is sort of going down against it, until this flips. And then it's like, okay, well, I'd rather be in ETH. And I mean, that's what we've all been hoping, but we just haven't seen it. So the trend is your friend until the end of the trend, unfortunately. People don't like to say that, but you got to say it. And look, Sol, Ethereum as a ratio, Sol is outperforming ETH as well. It's making new all-time highs. It's above the 10 and the 20 SMA on the weeklies. It is what it is. It may not. I think that Solana goes down all the time and it's not as good as Ethereum. But just because I don't like something doesn't mean anything. I don't like the Spice Girls, but people, they do world tours and they sell millions of records, It's like, doesn't matter what I think. It's just you got to recognize a little bit. But then you could do the argument that everyone knows about Solana. Solana has done from the bottom for this cycle up 570%. So maybe it's done its dash, like maybe at this point, getting into Solana is too late. Like, if you had bought whatever it was, so that's Sol ETH, sorry, that's gone up, whatever it was, 4x. But let's just look at Sol from the bottom as a percentage in dollar terms. Oh, holy shit. Okay, so it's done like 1,500% in 3 months. So, that's great. If you could have bought it $9, $10 Sol, but you're not. You buy
like there was no guarantee it would ever come back after
the FTX
whole
thing.
FTX thing. Yeah,
100%, bro. 100%.
So it's worth in these type of things throwing a little bit in, I guess, especially when it's like way down, and just be like, well, I can get a gazillion units for a couple bucks.
Well, that's the
and
thing,
just
isn't it?
see where it goes in.
You
so
look
long,
at
but
you look at EHEX, for example. You can get like a million EHEX for like $2,000. That was unheard of. Absolutely
and it's
unheard
been
of.
at 50 cents, sorry, or thereabouts, 48 cents or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And it
even higher.
And I think what was actually, I don't know, so I might not comment on it, but what was sacked because that was right around the sack, right? Where you sacked Hex for PLS and maybe PLSX. That was held, right? Or is that moved now? Like
all that Hex.
Yeah,
all the Hex that was sacrificed has just gone to the OA, has never been sold. So it's just taking it off
so
chain.
It's basically just taking it off. That's inflation that's gone out of the whole ecosystem. So
yeah. So this was you giving me a.
Oh, that was just another chart. We were struggling for charts, so I was
No, I appreciate that. I'll just quickly wrap up this thing what I was talking about. So if you want to look at ratios, you've got to look at, say, ETH BTC, Sol BTC, Tron BTC, whatever it is. You really have to compare it to something. And comparing to dollars is one thing, but comparing it to BTC is the ultimate, really. So
yeah,
Sol's been going sideways versus BTC. That's what it's about. So ETH BTC has been going down. Sol's BTC is going sideways. So you really, at this point, you should have just really been in BTC, except for, like, say, Tron BTC has been going up since June, but might be sort of coming back to that level there. So, there's a few others and things like that, speculation ones out there. I know Helium, for example, people were talking about it as like a real world asset because of that whole decentralized internet sort of stuff. But that looks like it's made a lower high.
Haven't heard of it.
You never heard of Helium?
Don't think so.
Okay. It's just like you can put like a router in your roof space or whatever, and then you have like a mesh network of like internet. So rather than using like a ISP,
there's a couple projects like this, but they were super old and went nowhere.
This is probably one of them, bro. Yeah.
Okay, it's still hanging on, right?
Still hanging on for dear life. Yeah, nice. Helium. Yeah,
there was another one like Internet Computer or something. I don't know how
that one was. Now, I think slightly different. I think that I don't know what happened with that, but that was a shit show, man.
Like
I remember
brand
when that came
new
out.
Smart contract chain that was not.
ICP.
EVM.
No.
Yeah, no.
I think it's just literal dog shit. I think, but people would say, "Oh, it's the best thing ever," and it's like, yeah, but did you get some sort of allocation or something? Because it's hard for me to trust your enthusiasm there.
Trying to dump on these newcomers.
Exactly. Casper has also been making lower highs, but still looking pretty good. At least it's on the daily, it's above the 20 SMA, and on the weekly as well. So I still think Casper is one to watch. Ton is below the 20 SMA for me. I'm not going to touch it with a 10-foot clown pole because that poor guy's in bloody jail now. The Pavel, the Ton founder, or did he get out?
Not sure.
I think he's still in jail.
Ton's not Tron either. They're different.
No. Ton's the guy who just the Telegram. Pavel Durov or something, or Durov. Pavel. Yeah. He got imprisoned in France. I think it was pretty.
Yeah, he got stung. He was like
that's crazy, man.
With the French leader, PM or president or something, and
here we go.
It turns out it was just a
Cal
sting
knows
operation.
What's up. Out on Pale. Cal always knows what's up. Have you noticed this? Every time I say something, like Cal's like, "Bam, this is what you wanted." he's
the
attention.
lowdown.
I like
yeah.
that. Thanks, Cal.
Finger on the pulse.
That's the way. But yeah, I can
Yeah.
only there's only enough mind space for one lawsuit at a time. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't get invested in this Durov guy because it's like we got the Richard
Yeah.
Hart thing coming up in October.
Yeah. Did you see Richard posted a recording from inside a court?
Yes.
One of his lawyers, not on Richard's behalf, but on his own behalf, was talking about how the SEC has gone in the wrong direction. And he was like fully sworn in and everything. And he's like, these are better ways to direct, like regulation in this industry. And they haven't done that. Yeah, this guy.
Man. Yeah, this is definitely worth looking at. So Richard Hart said today one of his 11 plus lawyers, ex-SEC, testified in front of Congress on his own behalf. And yet 6 minute video. But yeah, definitely worth a listen. So that just shows the caliber of his lawyers.
Yeah, it looks like a heavy hitter.
Yeah, and one of them was Elon Musk's lawyer, wasn't he? For when
I've heard Elon talk about it before, in the same vein that Richard Hart was, and they're completely isolated. Like those two guys they're not like, but he said the SEC is just in business of like pumping out lawyers, and they just lawfare, and I can't quote it directly, but like it's just not. It's not conducive to a free and open market, and it's not benefiting anyone except the careers of the lawyers who are at the SEC.
100%, man. Well said. Yeah, it's really hectic. They say that they're trying to help the investors, but all they're doing just is wrecking the investors, and they're just trying to get tenure. And I don't know why.
And then they get recruited by bigger law firms outside of the SEC, and then can leverage the SEC to do what they want, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got to be careful.
And like you say, Richard Hart doesn't have any affiliation with Elon, but they do have very similar ideals for proponents of freedom of speech and things like that. So I actually think that that's something that should really be commendable. I'm slightly concerned that the way that the UK, misinformation stuff is going down, that in Australia they're going to introduce that shit here, and that we're not going to be able to say, how we feel about certain things, because then you're basically going to be censored, which is crazy that we live in a democracy, but yet we can't say certain things publicly.
Have an open marketplace of ideas to lend merit and credence to what is true. We have to be dictated what is true to us. Like we can't make up our own minds, because God forbid we'll come to some sort of conclusion, and that can't happen.
So they basically treat us like children, where we have to be spoon-fed our information in a very sanitized way. There's a bit of pushback. I've seen. I think there was a new political party. It's an old political RFK.
party.
Oh, in Australia? Or okay.
Yeah, the Libertarian Party made some footholds in a Sydney council or something, but it gives them the opportunity to get further in I think a state election or something. I'm not really up to date with how that all works, but
I thought that that RFK thing was pretty crazy. Some of the things that he was saying, and like I don't necessarily agree with everything that he was saying, but it's just really interesting to hear someone say it out loud. Do you want to watch a bit of it?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Run it through. I'm here.
All right, let's see. Just give me some thumbs up if you can hear this.
This is a war that should have never happened. It's a war that Russians tried repeatedly to settle on terms that were very, very beneficial to Ukraine and us. The major thing they wanted was for us to keep NATO out of the Ukraine. The big military contractors want to add new countries to NATO all the time. Why? because then that country has to conform its military purchases to NATO weapon specifications, which means certain companies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, General Dynamics, Boeing, and Lockheed, get a trapped market. In March of 2022, we committed $113 billion. Just to give you an example, we could have built a home for almost every homeless person in this country. We then committed another $24 billion since then, 2 months ago, and now President Biden's asking for another $60 billion. But the big expenses are going to come after the war, when we have to rebuild all the things that we destroyed. Mitch McConnell was asked, can we really afford to spend $113 billion to Ukraine? He said, don't worry. It's not really going to Ukraine.
It's going to American defense manufacturers.
So he just admitted it's a money laundering scheme. And who do you think owns every one of those companies? BlackRock. So Tim Scott, during the Republican debate, said, don't worry, it's not a gift to Ukraine, it's a loan. So raise your hand if you think that that loan's ever getting paid back. Yeah, of course it's not. So why do they call it a loan? Because if they call it a loan, they can impose loan conditions. And what are the loan conditions that we impose on? Number one, an extreme austerity program, so that if you're poor in Ukraine, you're going to be poor forever. Number two, most important, Ukraine has to put all of its government-owned assets up for sale to multinational corporations, including all of its agricultural land, the biggest single asset in Europe. In Ukraine, there's been 1,000 years of war fought over that land. It's the richest farmland in the world. It's the breadbasket of Europe. 500,000 kids almost, Ukrainians, have died to keep that land as part of Ukraine. They almost certainly didn't know about this loan condition. They've already sold 30% of it. The buyers were DuPont, Cargill, and Monsanto. Who do you think owns all of those companies? Yeah, BlackRock. And then in December, President Biden gave out the contract to rebuild Ukraine. And who do you think got that contract? BlackRock. So they're doing this right in front of us. They don't even care that we know anymore, because they know that they can get away with it. And how do they know that? Because they have a strategy. And that strategy is an old strategy, which is they keep us at war with each other. They keep us hating on each other. They keep the Republicans and Democrats fighting each other, black against white, and all these divisions that they sow.
That's hectic,
on the
man.
money.
That is so hectic. I mean, whether you disagree or agree with some of those ideas, the fact that this is, Robert Kennedy, so he's like JFK's nephew, and he's a running mate, a part of the Trump campaign. So he's like he's a big player, and he was running for presidential candidate, and he's saying this stuff at the highest level, pointing out some of the things that maybe seem more obvious to some of us, but he's saying it out loud, man. And so that was interesting to hear.
Yeah, I mean, all we can do is just get people out there and vote for what they think is right, I guess, and let them make up their own minds and present them with information.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people vote for however they want, but
absolutely,
for me, I think that information being out there is important, right? So, because how can you vote if you don't know all the facts? So it's only when you sort of, after the fact, you learn about, say, Dick Cheney and Halliburton and how these things went down, where you kind of go, oh, is that right? Is that how it went down? Or, the WMDs or whatever for Iraq or whatever it was. You sort of going, oh, well, but at the time they said this. But then by then it's too late, right? So once you find out in hindsight, many years later, it's like, well, I guess it doesn't matter now. But at the time, there would have been people who knew about what was going on, and they either didn't have the avenue or the platform to be able to say it, or they felt discouraged to say it. So, yeah, I just like the idea of like a free and open discourse. People should be able to talk about these ideas, and then other people can disagree and say, oh, no, I don't think that's true. Or you can fact check it and say, well, maybe, BlackRock doesn't actually own whatever it is, Raytheon or something. And then you can go back and forth, but at least let's put all the information out there and then have a discussion about it. So yeah, pretty hectic, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will stop trying to get triggered by Trading Lounge. And here's one of the good guys, Somi. Great to see you guys.
Our friend.
Our friend. He knows what's up. PulseChain core values will transcend out to a wider crypto participants as 2025 plays out. A lot of people out there are sick of the establishment and bug eaters. Couldn't agree more, man. I think there's a bit of a sentiment out there where people are kind of going, why they keep trying to assassinate Trump? Like, why there's so many people out there on YouTube or whatever sort of questioning the narratives. And I think there's some interesting things that somebody's been talking about with like UFO tech and stuff recently that I really appreciate him talking about as well.
There's a lot of things. I think that we're in an interesting time. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I think, who knows? A lot of people just of today, yesterday, are standing down. Like it was like almost like all the news was like this massive guy is dropping out. This guy's
like
standing down. This big Christian minister is backing out of his job. And like, it was just like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, what? Wonder what's happening there.
Yeah,
like,
there was a whole bunch of people standing down. I heard, I don't know what I can't remember exactly. I'd have to check it out. Maybe
there's some sort of thing.
Yeah.
To do with some trial. They reckoned the tweet I saw reckoned it had to do with P. Diddy going to jail and all that.
Oh, that was through the week as well. Yeah.
Crap. Yeah.
So he's like the Epstein version of the
he might
allegedly
be singing like a bird with all this dirt on like all these guys.
Yeah, so that's
Who knows?
the theory is that he of the music industry. So this is, allegedly that he was doing all these parties and stuff and like filming all this shit. And
there's a lot of content on
that's hectic.
X.
And did you see him like P. Diddy? There's footage of him like patting down Justin Bieber. Like he's like, "Hey, go on, man," and he's like touching his chest, and he's just like, just checking for a wire. It's like,
oh right, yeah,
he does it. He's just like, "Yeah, man, how's it going? Yeah, and he's just, and you're thinking,
creepy.
Far out, what is going on? So that I don't know much about that.
No, yeah,
but the fact that you have David Grutch and these guys coming out, at the highest level of the American government, talking about agencies and stuff like that, where they've found UFO tech and working on it, the biologics and other sort of stuff. You can either believe it or not, but it's like, I feel like I would rather know. I wouldn't want a government to try and protect us by stopping, information coming out about certain things, especially when they're fundamental questions about like, are we alone and this sort of stuff.
Works. I think
physics and if they're gatekeeping.
Eric Weinstein has a great piece on that, like where it's just like string theory was just a red herring. They've funded it to the gills to destroy everything else, and it's just a dead end on purpose. And like I'm not equipped with the maths to like understand
well I've been looking into it, man. You've come to the right place.
From what I can understand, he's pretty on the money about it.
Oh yeah, he's 100%, man. I've got a degree in pure mathematics. Like I fully understand, and physics, of course. But I've been looking into the thing called Hop vibrations, which are 4D stereographic projections of like 4-dimensional shapes basically onto a 3-dimensional spheres, basically. So you get like a hypersphere
Okay.
projected onto a sphere, or like a tesseract stereographically projected onto a cube. So it's like looking at like a cube or any polyhedron on like a 2D plane, and then you just sort of you can still determine the shape by how many vertices it has and all this sort of stuff. But basically, you can look at higher dimensional shapes by using stereographic projections using the thing called fiber bundles. And the hot vibration is actually, it's in the graphic, man. It's like if I it's literally in the graphic for this video. So yeah, I've been looking into Eric Weinstein and basically listening to a lot of stuff with Roger Penrose talking about twistor space and spinners, and because it's basically because you get, like, with quantum mechanics, you have really weird spin state. You have like quantum mechanical spin states that can have, you know, like with quantum entanglement and all that sort of stuff, like qubits, you can have like up down states, and when you move them to, you know, infinitely far apart, and you measure the spin state of one of the entangled pairs, you
understand
instantaneously determine the property of the other. So there's some weird quantum properties and things like that, which you could argue is like, you know, non-locality of physics in different places, or higher dimensional physics in, you know, like in our 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional subset of like a higher dimensional space. So yeah, so that sort of stuff is been really interesting to me. I'm not sure how interesting it is to other people, but I have done a Twitter space before with Graviton, who's another hexagon who has got like a PhD in quantum gravity, and he talks about de Sitter spaces and all of this Minkowski space and all this stuff that I'm just like, have to look it up. But yeah, it's pretty hectic. Anyway, how's that for going off crypto?
That was a good tangent. That was a good tangent.
Bam. Yeah, so apart from looking up hot vibrations, what else has been going on?
Nothing much. Pretty happy that we're pumping. We've said enough now, I guess. But the rubber is slowly hitting the road, I guess.
I unfortunately am not able to bring up Deck Screener because I had so many charts
with all your charts and bars.
With all my lines, I keep getting this. So it might just have to be a bit of a short stream today, because I could try and persevere with Deck's tools, but it might be slightly painful. One thing I do want to check out is the Pulse wrapped ETH ratio. But yeah, it's like every time I do this, I'm just going to be wondering, is this the one with the right liquidity?
Yeah, because the different fee tiers and pools and things.
Yeah, I can't even be bothered. Like, Dex Tools is already giving me shit.
How well does the ETH from Ethereum, or whatever the PRC20 version of ETH is, how well does it hold its price compared to ETH? Like, it's pretty one for one.
Sorry, say again. I missed that. Say again.
So you have
the
like
wrapped pulse on ETH versus the wrapped pulse on Pulse.
No, the other way around. So wrapped ETH on Pulse. Does that exist? Like, how well does it hold its price? Like, can you hold that on? Yeah, bridged ETH.
Wrapped ETH. There's bots, I think, between, like, across the bridge that keep them pegged. Yeah.
Okay. So you can pretty confidently, if you wanted to be an ETH but wanted to be on PulseChain, it holds it pretty well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah. No. It's the liquidity's deep. It's like 30 million or maybe like 12 million between the wrapped Pulse, wrapped ETH. So if you're providing liquidity, and you're farming it, it's a pretty good pair because you're earning low impermanent loss because they've just been tracking, which was why I was sort of trying to find that wrap pulse wrapped ETH chart. But yeah, without Dex Screener, it's like I'm going to be
hard to
struggling.
I was looking at wrapped PLS and wrapped PLSX on Ethereum too, the Ethereum side, not the Pulse side, and they're so thin. From what I saw on Dex Screener, they got a tiny little like pennies of liquidity. So it'd be interesting if you could make them pump, right? If you could get something that like say burnt wrapped PLSX, for example, I think that was the thinnest.
So just to clarify, because I was trying to get Dex Screener working again. Go. So you're saying wrapped, say it again, wrapped PLSX?
PLSX, I think, has like
on Ethereum.
Maybe I was looking at the wrong on Ethereum, on the Ethereum side. So like PLSX from PulseChain on Ethereum.
I don't think many people bridge it out. I think is the thing is that most people would.
But there is a liquidity pool on Uniswap, for that. I need to look into that more. But I was interested because like I was thinking, if you could somehow buy that and burn it, right? You could pump it hard. Would that discrepancy? This is all purely fictional imaginary.
I know what you're saying because it's low liquidity on the Ethereum side. You could pump
get
it on that side.
You pump it on ETH and then like ratchet it up so you bridge it back over and it's worth more. Or you could like pump the whole PulseChain ecosystem by leveraging these, not like debt leveraging, but like ratcheting up these tokens that have tiny liquidities on. It's just it'd be an interesting project.
I know what you're saying, but I'm not sure that it would work that well because of the weight. So because the pools on the Ethereum side are so shallow, you could crank those pools up, right?
Yeah.
But then when you bridge it across and unwrap it, the pools that you're selling into haven't moved, if you know what I mean. So you would just have a disparity between the two pools that could be arbitraged, but you'd probably be arbitraging it the other way. Like you'd be taking the PLSX from the Pulse side, bridge it out and selling it at the higher price, which would then bring the price down.
Yeah. True.
So
I'm just trying to,
I'm
thinking of interesting little games I could play.
Cool, man. I like that idea though. One thing I was going to say while I've got you here, and I think we've been chatting about Pulse and Hex and all this stuff for like for the last hour. Oh, True Blue's giving us too much credit here. Too much smart talk. We need more repetitive crypto talk. That's right. Hex to the moon. Hex to $1. This is my new thing. I just say Hex to $1 now.
Hex to $1.
People just like P-die,
multi-dollars.
Hex to $1.
Yeah.
What is up, DJ Cryptomatic from the other side of the world? Guten Tag.
Howdy.
Up? KD said, word up, Somi. Yeah, so the real people here know what's up. Sometimes we go off on tangents, but
I think that
it's
I
relative
hope it's
to
entertaining.
Yeah. And look, where else are you going to hear this shit?
Stimulating.
Where else are you going to hear this? Where else are you going to turn on the radio and have someone talk about hyperspheres in other dimensions and then like stereographic projections and stuff and hops vibrations and then just talk about BlackRock, talk smack about BlackRock for ages? Like you'd be like, these guys are going to get canceled for sure. But even if we do, then who cares? I've got stuff to do. You know, this is pretty funny. Or maybe not. PDD placed on suicide watch. Oh man, is that like one of those? He's saying maybe, you know, maybe I should be careful what I'm saying here, but it might be like unintentional suicide, if you know what I mean. Like basically what everyone's seeking there is someone going to try and murder P. Diddy in prison, because he knows too much, right? That's what the speculation is. And then they'll try and pretend that it's suicide. I really hope that doesn't happen. That would be really sad. I'd rather see all the information come out and everyone get pinged for being filthy pedos or whatever the hell it is. And they can all go to jail. What is up, McNuggets? G'day, legends. There you go. Richard has a big PP and make you rich. That's all you got to know. X to $1. Bam. And like I say, hedge your bets, you know, get them. It doesn't have to be 1 million, but whatever. Get 1 million p-hex. And then when it goes to $1, you have $1 million. Get 1 million e-hex just as a hedge, just in cases. Or don't.
Okay. Having technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Cool.
But it's interesting that, like, so I'm a huge fan of Pulse, right? Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But Hex has got the lower liquidity. And we speculated that it might mean that it would pump the hardest if there was a certain injection amount of capital, because it has the lowest liquidity. It's easier to move. And that's what we saw during the week. Like, we saw like 25% candles, like daily candles, which is hectic.
Yeah.
So I wonder if, and also there's also the narrative that maybe when people start to get gains wherever else, they'll slowly migrate back to Hex, because that's the store of value. So I don't know if whether we're seeing that or whether it's the low liquidity, but certainly they have been pumping. You've got to give it credit.
Yeah. Yeah. I take into factor like other things. So Hex is lower liquidity than PLS, right? For now. But Hex inflates and Pulse doesn't, right? So right?
Yeah.
So like that won't be true forever.
Well, I think technically Pulse does inflate, but it's disinflationary because it's paying the miners per, or the validators, per transaction, but maybe that amount of that Pulse decreases over time. Like, so that it's disinflationary. Certainly, I think PulseX is deflationary because it's got the buy and burn, right?
Buy and burn. And
so every part of the transactions are being used to buy and then burn. Yeah, so that's
it's already inflated the maximum it ever will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
No, okay. I think I interrupted you. Sorry for that.
No,
too many coffees. See that Bing X exchange got hacked for 29 million 360 altcoins and then swapped for ETH and BNB today. I didn't see that. Cal on the Pulse again. We need you on stream, Cal. What is going on? You need to step up, you know, get on camera, and then you can tell us what's up, because he's got some good bits, nuggets of information there. Yeah, exchange is getting hacked, man. Will it ever end? You know, will we learn our lesson?
No, it's the classic. Like ever since Mt. Gox, it's just it's the old adage of exchanges are like public toilets. You want to get in and out and off onto your own wallet or into your bank account as quickly as possible. You don't want to leave money on there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Another exchange hack. Yeah, it is what it is, man. Like, you know, there's people out there that are just shilling Bybit referral links and they're shilling coins and saying get leverage on these whatevers.
Yeah,
all these guys are getting wrecked, man. But anyway,
true wealth comes from doing everything by your bootstraps. If you don't have the money to spend, don't spend it, and then you own everything. You don't have to answer to anyone. You don't have to sleep. Like if you've got $100, put $100 in something that with long-term value and write it out. And then that money is your money. Like leverage is just not. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It's just you're going to get liquidated by some scam wick. It's like they're going to use some dodgy time-weighted average to just go, oh, no, technically.
Or just the market will go down. Like,
yeah.
And
yeah.
It's,
And that's the thing with the interest rates, right? So when the interest rates were getting cut, people were really 50-50. They were like, this could actually be bearish because it's a sign that the economy in the US is doing so poorly and that the unemployment is so high that they have to cut the rates, which then historically has been really bearish. And then, but then it was like, so, you could put some short on or whatever, thinking that you're just some gun trader. And then you just get wrecked because they just pumped the shit out of it. And it went up. But look, I think it's more like what 43 was saying, is that it's more the election and where we are in the cycle, all the liquidity coming in to the markets, and then slowly going from less risky to risky. I think that's where that's the gradient of risk and how the capital gets deployed down that risk spectrum. So unfortunately, crypto and
confused on the culture. So
unfortunately, like where we are with crypto and DG and stuff is it's at the high end risk. So that's the last thing to move. That's why you got to wait, So otherwise it would be too easy. But where else can you get a 2x in a week as well?
Yeah. Volatility is the price you pay for the highest appreciating asset class.
Bam. There you go. 100%, man. And if you've got like I say, 1 million hex goes to $1, buy $1 million house, you're set. You did it. You don't have to do anything.
Well, yeah. Then you're all out too. So that's also kind of a mistake. You need it to go up to like 10 mil.
I'm keeping it simple
to buy a 1 mil house. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm keeping it simple
for the peeps out there. But yeah, I mean, ideally you want to get like say $20 million, right? Pay half in tax. So you got 10 mil. You can buy a house, a couple of mil, buy a few assets, and then just sit on investments or whatever and not have to sell it all or whatever. And then rotate out into stables, put it back into BTC, whatever, after a year or whatever. Like that's ideal. But you got to do these baby steps first.
Wealth.
And it starts with a 2x. That's right. You can give your kids a house, because they got no chance, man. Kids got no chance.
No. Just looking at the leaders of this country and the way things are going, and just
how do they buy $1 million house, man? How are they going to do it? It's just going to be like it's
silly
price of entry.
And like unless you, so there's a show called Walk the World by an Australian dude, an older bloke. Martin North, and he does like heavy financial not sentiment, but like analytics. That he runs a little business that does that, and then he has like a YouTube channel. I think, who's the other Australian bloke who does streams? He was on there once, but he was talking about the bank of not only mum and dad, but the bank of nan and pop now. So like the wealth is shifting to the point where if you don't have not only parents like mum and dad who have assets, you also need your grandparents to have assets.
That's crazy.
And then it's like shifting down and often skipping the parents to go straight to the younger generation. And he showed a bunch of analytics and statistics on that. And that's like, if you don't have that, you're absolutely not getting into this market in terms of Australian housing. Yeah.
That's so hectic, man. It's like, the newer generation, it just got literally no chance. And that's why people turn to crypto, because where else can you get the outsized returns?
You can't get that size returns. Yeah. Anywhere else.
So that's the risk, right? Because they're like, you're either fucked or
you play casino games.
you're fucked. But you can
Yeah.
have a chance, like a small chance.
Yeah.
You know,
If you're clever about the fundamentals that you pick and the founder and the chain and
the
you
community.
really
man.
educate. I think because it takes a long time to be in crypto to be able to know when something's a winner too. Like,
Yeah.
and even then
yeah.
you don't know, but like just loading up the right kind of wallet, getting
Mhm.
your private keys in like something tough, and then getting a hardware wallet.
Security.
That
yeah,
is like,
crucial.
even if you have someone guiding you, that's like a 6-month process.
Oh
Like
yeah.
before you're longer.
Takes
So
a
you
while.
have to be in crypto for like years
Mhm.
before you can even see things for what they kind of are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
education
exactly.
is huge. Education
You're
is
100%,
huge.
man.
Don't come in like I'm new to crypto. I've just refinanced my house or something, and I'm going to go all in on Pepe. Like that's silly. What you want to do is just a couple dollars here and there. The beautiful thing about crypto, I think, is there's no minimum spend in most of it.
Yes. Yeah, you don't need like
and
$5,000.
quite
like with
often the
stocks.
smaller on ramps won't get blocked by the bank or don't get blocked. Like if you're gonna stick 50 grand from AUD into Ethereum or some exchange process where you go to an exchange, you take your dollars and you put them in there, like a lot of the times that's going to get flagged by the bank. They might just turn off your bank account. That's before you've even got it in crypto. So
it takes a while.
I would play with
set that
small
up.
numbers and
Different
really
banks.
educate. Yeah.
Yep. And getting that self-custody, like hardware wallets, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Takes a while. And you got to ask questions as well. Like you got to be careful who you
Yeah.
ask, I guess. You don't want to just
You
go
got to
on
be
some
careful. There's
Telegram
no
thing.
tech support. There's no one who's
Yeah.
got your back. You just gotta learn it all yourself. I mean, AI is good now, but that still can be wrong. It's
I like Klaz's thing here. Question: why don't we just hire
Yeah.
strippers to promote Hex, or are we more
Yeah.
conservative? I'm confused on our culture. I like that idea. I'm glad
Yeah.
that she did it and not me, because I can't get in trouble. But yeah, like I don't know. Let's hire some strippers. I think 43 is
maybe
down. He
Yeah.
said he likes the idea.
strippers.
That's normally a top signal. Like when you
It
start
is, yeah.
seeing, like
When the yachts come out and the booby ladies come out and like the booth girls and the that's
the people
usually
who've
an
got those money
indication
guns
that
and shit, and they're like just putting
yeah, and
and you're like,
the
holy shit, I think I should sell.
yeah, because everyone else seems to be.
Everyone else is already sold because they where did they get
Yeah.
all this money from? DJ said it seems to work for Iggy Azalea. So yeah, during the week she did that Singaporean conference, the token 2049 or whatever it was.
Yes, in Singapore.
Did she actually have the debate with Eric Wall, or did that get canned?
I didn't watch anything from that.
I think it got
just
canned. Yeah,
saw
there was
some guys over there.
Yeah,
on my
I think
feed.
it was going to be interesting because Eric Wall, as much as everyone hates him, I think he's pretty funny. And
yeah, he's a good stirring up controversy, and he does it on purpose. Absolutely does it on purpose.
He stirs it up. So, but it was pretty funny. And look, Iggy is an Aussie, so she just sort of pulls the piss a bit as well. So I thought it would have been entertaining. But KD agrees. Total top signal. We need to start with the strippers when it's like the price is really low, so that it becomes normalized, so that we don't treat it as just a top signal.
Got to be careful what I say, but like maybe you could somehow get sponsorships on. I don't know. Yeah, I was going to say like try and sponsor like struggling OnlyFans models.
Yeah, I mean, sex sells, right? So
Well, it used to sell a lot better, and then we learned that outrage sells even better. So
yeah, I suppose so. Well, outrage, it gets engagement. Like I noticed a few
Yeah.
people will say some stuff online and they'll purposefully make mistakes with it so that everyone comes in and goes, actually, and they try and correct them.
Actually, yeah.
Actually. And it's like, I think they're just
They just
trying to
took
get
the bait.
people. Yeah, they're literally trying to
Just
get
line up, set up.
altcoin.
No,
Altcoin
yeah.
Daily does it all the time, and it's like, bro, I'm only here to ratio like Hexologist's quotes over tweets over altcoin Daily. That's the only reason why I'm paying attention to this.
Yeah.
But yeah, little bubble, that was funny. That was at the start. I did put that in with the Vitalik sneezing.
Yeah, and like picking his nose and stuff. I'm always worried on stream I'm doing something like that. Like I see that and I don't like laugh at Vitalik. I'm like, oh shit, where have I been seeing?
It's a cautionary tale.
Nose? Yeah.
Yeah. But Vitalik, he just, like you say, he needs to get his testosterone levels checked, I think, because
yeah, I mean,
he's just the Hello Kitty.
He's been and like he's been dressed up as a little pony. No, I don't know. That's his image. That's what he wants to do. So
yeah,
more power to him. But
no, we want Richard back. We
want some balls. We want some
that's
like man.
That's it. Well, that's why we got to go back and watch
horse,
these.
I reckon, just like manly man, shoot some guns. I don't know.
I like the idea that he's going to come back as Ripped Richard. Like just been working out.
The comeback, like here we go. He's just
just starts deadlifting because he was pretty strong back in the day. He used to do a lot of deadlifts and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I remember he showed one time he had not a streaming setup, but a computer setup with like a exercise bike,
and it was on the angle
to the and then there's it's like back on the angle with something like 6 monitors like all set up.
Yeah, that was clever. He's just sitting there just while he's
just like pumping up the chart. He's just like pedaling.
Yeah, he's just getting the green candles, just fucking candle power.
He's like, I gotta pump harder.
That's right. I noticed also during the week, Trump has got this World Liberty Finance thing. Did you see that?
Did not. There's been so much news,
man.
so I missed.
So Trump has literally got some sort of, I think it's his sons that are doing it, some sort of DeFi, fork of Aave, whatever. It seems unnecessary to me. Like, why not just use Aave if that's what you want? You know, you want to take a loan out against your crypto, then you can use Aave. And if you're on PulseChain.
I did hear they were in talks about making an exchange, but I didn't know it was a DEX. It was like something like
they were saying it's like KYC
or something like that.
Oh,
KYC,
okay.
Right? No, I thought it was like an actual CEX, like an exchange. But like I just seen clips, like I haven't seen much. It was like, we're going to revolutionize DeFi, and then we're like, oh, he's just going to launch an ERC20, and then he's like, no, we're making an exchange, and then my brain went to like, oh, it's a centralized exchange, which is cool. Like I would love a Trump-based on-off ramp because like it's just more the better.
I don't know. It just
I guess actually, the more I think about it, it's not.
It just seems unnecessary to me, but it's cool that he's getting into crypto.
I think it's cool because it's good for, it all hinges on whether or not he gets elected or if he's allowed to be elected, like Eric Weinstein's, like.
Yeah. Look, I think that he will make every attempt, but at the end of the day, because he knows that he can basically access another pool of money by getting into crypto. So for political donations and things like that, there will be a lot of.
Even Kamala Harris started her. She's like, I'm open to funds here, even though like she's completely anti it everything. She's like,
Yeah.
if you're blue, you can vote with your money here. I was like, that's silly. And then there was talks that like, like Kamala's gonna race Trump to fire Guzzler, and she's gonna try and do it early. And I was like, that's actually a really clever play.
Do it.
If she were to do it, that would like, I think that would improve her chances. Like,
I think so. It's such an easy thing to do, right? Like, because it takes away
unilateral,
that playing
like,
card.
Multi-party sentiment that just like
everyone hates the Guzzler. Like, just
no
sack
one
him.
is a fan of that guy.
And then it takes away the playing card, right?
Yeah.
You know, free Ross Ulbricht. Free Ross Ulbricht.
Yeah.
Do a few things like that. Get a few crypto donations. It would be so easy
What's
for
his
them.
name got not that long ago? Assange was freed.
Yeah, that was
He's
awesome.
out.
Yeah,
that was
really
good.
Cool.
That was great. Doesn't matter what you think of, like, that's great. So
yeah, look, it was one of those things where there was a little bit of a gray area in terms of when you leak information, if there's people that are in a military combat, you know, hot zone or whatever, and it could
be dangerous.
It could be dangerous for those people, and particularly for like, basically people who are serving. And I understand that nuance, but in general, like WikiLeaks or just whistleblowers in general, if they're shedding light and elucidating nefarious sort of shenanigans that are going on behind the scenes, but in the government, then I think that's a community service, really, because it's
absolutely,
it's
and they absolutely get drugged through the coals for it every time. Like every time. It sucks. Like there's laws here to protect them, and I feel like they're just traps. Like it's a trap.
Yeah.
You don't want to like,
So anyway, I thought it was one of those things where he'd served so long in jail as well that
time served, I say.
Yeah. So no, that was a no-brainer. So yeah, it's pretty easy to kind of do a few things to pander to the crypto community, and they would have got a lot of donations. And it is odd that there's sort of the Democrats have kind of got this whole, if we get in power, we're going to do this or we're going to do that. It's like, bro, just do it now.
Power now.
Yeah, in power.
Yeah.
Like, what? No one's stopping
just
you.
Do it.
Yeah. Where's Sleepy Joe at? Wake him up.
No. Did you see he put a MAGA hat on? Like, that's not Photoshop. That's not AI.
I did
they
see
reckon
that.
Because he got ousted, he was, this is just the theory. It's not.
Yeah.
True, like, but he was like, because he got backstabbed by Kamala and co, he's just like, nah.
I haven't heard him say a single word since he got.
He's done like one press conference or something, and that's it. And he did that like thing where he was meeting at that place. I think there was twice where he was like holding a red hat going up into the airplane. There was another time where he was at like just meeting these union workers or something, like a He was just meeting them,
and that's right when he put the hat on.
He just like put the hat on.
That's right.
It's like,
but see, he looks a bit. I mean, this is like tinfoil hat stuff. But have you noticed that sometimes you see Biden and he looks like really tall, or like he looks slightly like his face looks different, like he looks and he's like way more cogent. And
it's
he's
like
just
Biden died like,
g'day everyone, how you going?
It's just,
hang on, last time you could barely string a sentence together.
Yeah, who knows?
Now you look taller and like more in charge of your mental faculties. It's like, I know they had a lot of body doubles for like Saddam Hussein and a lot of political, like Putin, whoever, Kim Jong-un, they use body doubles 100%. They always have. But that's just from a security point of view. Like, so, you know, you take one car around the back or one car, and then one body double goes out the front, and then they actually have the real guy goes out the basement. I mean, even I know celebrities do that shit as well. So it's not. So then it's
like the multiple entrances coming out the back, and they do that in courts and stuff as well. It's just like how, I don't know about body doubles, but like,
no, 100% there's body doubles. So of course, then the argument is that there would be Biden body doubles, right? Like that would make sense. That would just be part of the security. So that you would have them
do all these speeches just actually.
But then,
sleep
but so
White
at what
House.
point? What are they doing? Are they
Like,
just
what-
going to the car?
Sleepy
just so
Joe's is
that-
having a nap, so the other
or
guy
is
comes
he
out.
is he going to the factory and then he's mucking around,
Who
putting on
knows?
hats?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, man. It just seemed a little bit Weekend at Biden's to me. Like it was like the whole,
Yeah.
remember Weekend at Bernie's where they held that guy? I don't know if you've seen that movie. Have you seen Weekend at Bernie's?
No, that's
Oh,
not.
man.
No. Hang
Put
on.
it in the chat. Have you seen Weekend at Bernie's? It's an old school movie. There's this guy,
Oh,
there's two
that's why-
guys.
Look at the mustaches.
They
on this guy.
they go to this guy's house, Bernie, and he's dead.
Yeah.
And then they want to stay in his house, so they just pretend he's not dead for the whole weekend. They just kept walking him around like they got his hand on a string and shit, and
Cool.
it's like waving, there you go. And
I think I've seen clips. I think I've
it's
seen
classic.
memes. Yes.
Weekend at
Yeah.
Bernie's, yeah. So anyway, I still haven't checked on True Blue if he's done his homework and watched Demolition Man and Face Off, I think was the other one. Because I keep saying these movies and everyone's just like, bro, you're old. What is this Demolition Man you speak? But anyway, one of these days, someone's going to know what I'm talking about.
I've seen Die Hard.
There you
Classic
go. Oh, look at
Christmas
this.
movie.
KD knows what's up. Definitely a classic. Yes, vindicated. It probably has not aged well. Like when I was like
No.
a kid, I thought it was funny, and now you just feel like, oh, this is not great. Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to chat about? I think maybe Dex Screener has finally come good.
Come good.
So,
Oh, yeah.
not that it really matters because I think we kind of mentioned this. Pulse is starting to kick ass again. We're above the 20 MA on the dailies. We've probably still got a long way to go on the weekly. Oh, even on the weekly, we're approaching it.
Oh,
But certainly on the dailies, it's looking good. And I can actually bring up a few charts now. Let me just get rid of all this junk.
can I duck
Okay,
out for like 30
Yeah,
seconds?
go for
I'll be real
it. Yeah,
quick. All right, go.
All right. So this is Hex here. Oh man, look at this. What a sight to see. What a thing of beauty. So this is what I wanted to show. From basically the 9th of September, we are up 103%. That's a 2x. So yeah, we did it. But that's pretty good in 11 days to have literally done a 2x. That's Hex on Pulse. There's been, what else we got here? PulseX has also done a 40, just a lazy 47% up. That's pretty good in like 10 days or whatever that is. And yeah, so the trend now, nearly 2 weeks, so 48%. So the trend now is definitely that we are, the 10-day SMA is above the 20. The price is above both. And what we want is that the 10 and the 20 to be above the 50. So then you're talking serious uptrend, So it's happening. It's happening in real time. One thing I would slightly caution is that I did have a prophecy a while back where I said sometimes before a sell the news event, or an event, I should just say, not unlike the one that's coming for the Richard Hart trial at the end of October, whales tend to pump the price up quite a bit before the event, and then everyone thinks that the event is a no-brainer and it's just going to go to the moon, and then it starts to bleed into the date. So beware of that if it does eventuate. But anyway, that's just something I've noticed.
I remember
correlation.
there was with Doge, I think, and everyone was like, buy Doge because Elon's going to get on SNL or whatever it was and pump it. And it went through the floor.
That was a sell the news. That was a straight up sell the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes it bleeds into the sell the news. That's the weird thing.
Right. Okay.
Like, so either people just anticipating that it's that people are going to sell the news. So this is the Pulse ETH pair that I wanted to talk about earlier, but the deck screener was not playing ball. So we're in this lovely channel. Pulse has been outperforming ETH, but basically just going sideways. And then we sort of went out of the channel, and I thought, oh, are we going to pull back in, or are we going to bounce off the top of this channel? If it's a bounce and we start to just decouple from or decorrelate from ETH, then that's super bullish for Pulse.
Could be. Could be.
So I'll keep an eye on this channel. I want to see whether it goes back in, and this is just an anomaly, and that the trend is basically just like a gradual increase, or whether it's literally going to start to go parabolic and just break out of this channel. So yeah, that's something for me to keep an eye on. I guess the other thing is like Pulse versus PulseX. So if I price PulseX in terms of Pulse, yeah, this is in log. This is on the daily. So PulseX is actually outperforming Pulse right now, and it's above the 10 and the 20. So PulseX is looking pretty good. Let's look at Inc versus Pulse. Maybe I should get closer to the mic here. Oh, wow. Inc broke out of this channel. Oh, now the channel is just straight up sideways. That's funny. Okay. Well, good for farms. Because
big time. And it's a farming coin too.
So. Yeah, so what they're doing is they're compounding their yield by taking the yield from the say a Pulse Inc farm and then putting it back in, using their ink to put it back in, or say taking the ink from a Pulse wrapped ETH farm and then taking that ink and then putting that into a PulseX Inc farm or whatever, but you're compounding it. So yeah, kind of cool to see these things track like that. It's almost as if someone knows what they're doing, and there's some bots or whatever that are keeping this stuff pegged or within ranges.
Because fees are so low on PulseChain, a lot of arbitrage bots and bots in general. I don't know how it is with like MEV type stuff, but I know for sure there is like a lot of arbitrage stuff going on.
And then you've got the stable swap stuff as well. So
what was the go with that?
It just means
the new
less slippage.
Stable pools.
Yeah, it just means less slippage between like, so your pulse die, what pools and that are massive, but then it's like, well, what happens if you've got USDC, or what if you've got USDT, and then those pools might be lower liquidity, so you're going to get, and you want to buy Pulse, you're going to get more slippage. But then if those pools, the stable swap routes it like so that and they're sort of almost pegged, so you've got the you've got DAI from Ethereum and like USDC, USDT within this stable swap sort of contract with high liquidity, the slippage is minimal. So if you're talking like, millions of dollars, you might only be, instead of getting like 1% in slippage, you're getting like 0.1% of slippage. So it does add up. Yeah.
Especially with larger sums. Cool. I guess that's...
I like this. 43 knows every movie I've ever mentioned. Yeah, thank God. Yeah, awesome. Hey, what's up? Fast Abdul, let's talk bribes. Yes.
Bribes.
Yes. I'm not sure what we would... Is he bribing us or are we bribing him?
I don't know.
Is he bribing us to do
Gotta
things?
do it fast.
Whatever it is, he's doing it fast.
Yeah.
Hope the
I'll
Pulse
take bribes.
Jitsu is going on. Yeah, that's right. It's like,
there are
wait,
bribes going.
is there bribes?
Maybe
Is there
not.
bribes?
If
Or
it-
are we
if it-
bribing
yeah.
him? In which case, I don't know. What has he got that we want?
Yeah.
That's the question. Maybe he can give us some Pulse Jitsu lessons.
I need them. Oh.
Is there any point talking about some meme coins?
I got some
of
meme
them.
coins to talk about. Oh, they're not meme coins, but they're not in the ecosystem.
Let's do it. Let's do a quick meme coin thing, and we'll wrap it up, right? Because it's like nearly 2
Yep.
hours. So let's just
Yeah.
transition with a meme coin. Oh, here we go.
The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. I'll do you on the bottom while you're drinking sangria.
Nachos, lemon heads, my dad's boat. You won't go down cause my dick can float.
We sail around the world and go port to port. Every time I come, I produce a quart.
Put on your life vest, let's drop anchor. There's a nice lady who I like to spank her.
Oh, that was too funny. I was laughing my ass off during that.
Oh, the video didn't quite work for me. I don't know what.
Oh, really?
It was just Will Ferrell and obviously the boats and hoes.
Boats and hose. It didn't work. Oh, spewing. I was just laughing my ass off.
There was no audio. It was just like freeze framed. But
Really?
I think it worked on the actual stream. I just don't think StreamYard.
Anyway,
showed it.
watch it in your own time, Phoebes. It's from Step Brothers. That's some more movie homework to watch.
That one's classic. Oh, they're all classics, but that one's it's funny.
Step Brothers is hilarious.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the DGen 12 minutes that we have left. Yeah, let's look at some coins. So Pika, this is like the one that Somi was talking about. I think I drew this squiggle TA as like a joke, and then like it's pretty much followed it. So that's pretty cool.
Just draw some lines up, and then maybe
that's a tangent thing, man. I got that from Tangent. He used to do the squiggle TA and just be like, just draw like moon lines to like $1 million, which I always appreciated. And so I like that. But if I was to look at this, I would say, yeah, it's above the 10 and the 20 SMA on the dailies. It's looking like an uptrend. This line was obviously a line of support that didn't support it and then turned into resistance and got shuttered down. So it's now entering that same range. If it can retest this line here at 0027, I would like to see that. If it can go above, retest it, and then kick off, then I think there's some big upside. But be wary of this resistance because it did get rejected off it before. So there you go. HOA, these guys got crushed. And we did talk about it getting crushed right at the start. So I feel like if anyone's listening to us and I'm not just yelling at clouds, then maybe I helped someone because, yeah, it closed below the 20 MA and then it got rejected off it and then basically just went down and down and down and down. So, meme coins don't go off forever, peeps. Like, it is what it is. Down at the lows, it was down 80%. And, don't come at me gang peeps, because I know I can put this in Pulse terms and it might look slightly better. But I'm just saying for what it is, it was making lower lows all the way, but now is making higher lows and it has, closed above the 20 MA. So now I feel like it's safe to say that it's broken out of this downtrend. So could be a good buy zone for the old HOA 0.0157. And yeah, if I put it in terms of Pulse terms, it still looked pretty terrible. Okay, I take that back. I was right the first time. The only time I was wrong was when I doubted myself.
Yeah, that's always the way.
All right. And interesting that this MACD crossed over before this 20 MA as well, and it sort of retested that 20 MA. So now this is a good setup. I might be getting some HOA after this. The Grays token.
Yeah.
People have been talking about this. I feel like it went on some sort of massive moon run. This is straight up parabolic, isn't it? So I think we had said, let's just put this in log, like you say. It doesn't actually make a lot of difference. A lot of times people say, oh, you've got to put it in log. It's like, bro, like,
yeah,
the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's this was a line of support. I was hoping it wouldn't go below, which it didn't. And then above the 20 MA here. So like right here would have been the entry if you were trading this. And it would be up 370%. So yeah, that's looking pretty good, and it hasn't broken below the 20 there. So
does it does PTGC have some sort of like, is it a reflection token or something? Does it have a tax on it or do something? Because there's a few of those ones now, and
I'm normally not
some
a
of them are
fan
doing
of
quite
tax.
well.
Yeah,
I don't like tax
coins
either.
So
like,
I don't know, maybe
deduct on sale or something.
I think I had a problem buying this, actually. I had a problem buying this on Pateus, and it wasn't working. And I was like, what the fuck? And then
because
maybe
your
it's
slippage will be too high because there's a tax.
Because there's a tax. Maybe that's
I've had a few issues with coins like this.
Like,
But that being said, if you factor in things that are not just the price, because like you can get the entry price on, I'll talk about this later, but you can get some of these, you can get like a better entry price than what the chart shows if you're like, it's more pertinent to something else. But
it doesn't say that it's a tax
when
coin.
there's behavior in the token itself that does things to pump the price or reward their things, it doesn't necessarily reflect in the chart.
Let's just quickly outsource this to Cal real quick, because Cal, if you're listening, can you tell us, can you pull this up, Cal? You know that Joe Rogan always does that. Hey, Jamie, can you just research this for me? Cal's like our Jamie. Can you tell us, is PTGC a tax coin? Because it doesn't say that it is here, and I don't have time to look into it. But yeah, anyway, it's looking the goods, so I can't really talk smack about it.
No.
SolidX is looking fairly terrible. But maybe it's getting a floor here. Can we get a line of support? Oh man, it is sitting on it. It's literally retesting it. Can you see that? That's the all-time low. Ooh, okay. That's one to watch. Keep an eye on SolidX. It's at $13 and it's retesting the all-time low. What about in Pulse terms? Yeah, okay, it's just been going down against Pulse. Ooh, okay. Less good. So interesting to see that even though it's paired with Pulse, let's hide this ad. It's paired with Pulse. Pulse has been pumping, but SolidX hasn't been pumping. So you would have thought that with some sort of Hart's law, you know, if one side of the pair is pumping, shouldn't this have been at least pumping in terms of dollar terms?
Might be a sell wall in the liquidity pool.
Yeah, exactly. And the only answer is that there's an equal and opposite sell pressure to stop it from pumping.
So it depends. What 9-inch? Okay.
Is it on 9-inch? Yeah, because they've got V3 on 9-inch as well, don't they?
Oh, do they?
So,
I did not know.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but it's been a while since I looked at 9-inch. But
because you can add like one side liquidity and throw it up in a range, and so like people have to sell into that, and then founders can like get out that way without putting sell pressure into the chart, but
Sure.
the chart barely moves up.
Well, it would have
I
to
would
be
just-
because
I'm
how
making
else-
an assumption. I don't know that like factually,
I mean, but it has to, someone has to be selling more than, because if it's pulled with Pulse as its primary liquidity and Pulse has gone up by whatever it is, I don't even know how much, but it's gone up by a fair bit, say 25% or whatever the last few days, then how come it wasn't also going up? Like, I think HOA was going up, and that's because it's pulled with Pulse, possibly.
Of recent, yeah.
But if it's pulled with Pulse, they should be going up. Okay, so to be fair, I was looking at the teddy bear chart a while ago, and I don't know where I got this line from, but oh yeah, there you go. It was one of the all-time lows down there. And it looks like it has retested it. So broke below it, broke above it, went all the way down, retested it. And now it's making a higher low. So even teddy bear is starting to look okay. But yeah, it's a pretty volatile, let's just say, looking chart.
Yeah.
I have reservations about anything associated with Moon King. Don't come at me, Moon King. Actually, yeah, whatever. I don't care either way. But I just, yeah, I have seen a lot of those coins over the years not do well. But they do. He does seem to be quite invested in that teddy bear thing. So maybe that's the one that they'll let survive. That will survive. All right, let's just quickly look at like Dick with Bart, whatever. OMG. I'm just randomly choosing coins now. Dick with Bart. Yeah, it's looking all right. It's above the 20. OMG, similar story, not doing a lot. While I've got you on here,
yeah,
because you know a little bit about the Titan X ecosystem.
Yeah.
What's the deal with this Hydra? Because there's like Hyper, and then there's Hydra.
Hyper, Hydra,
Dragon X.
Dragon X. That's the core four. So the main four. That's it.
Is Jake X a thing, or is that a joke?
That's a thing. So people are launching meme coins
real.
that are very. There's an actual website, right? And I kind of want to like get my foot in the door in this community and kind of like be a little go-between dude. But they've been doing very, very well. Like, and it doesn't necessarily reflect on the price, but these guys are minting it or mining it at a delay at a much, much lower cost basis than the chart shows. So you have these like charts that get massively pushed up at the start because of MEV bots running buy and burns, and it's profitable for the MEV bots, and it doesn't help the system much, but that just happens for the first month. Once that's out, you're kind of at like price discovery, and it goes down a bit. And then these buy and burns, the rubber really hits the road. Like they're massively deflationary.
So I remember with Titan X, it did quite well at the start, but if you mined it, not if you bought it on chain, but if you mined it, it did quite well. And then it had like diminishing returns. And then it sort of seems like basically the amount of ETH that
it's not profitable to mine it anymore.
Yeah, you would actually lose money. So
you don't want to mine it. But you could have made money early on from the mining value that goes to the stakers. You could have bought on Uniswap at even some of these exorbitantly high prices. You could have got it, that initial chunk of cash that was going into the massive mines. I wasn't huge on Titan X because it was the first token of its kind, and like you were early. But you could have bought even at these jacked up prices and staked and got the payouts early on and paid back yourself. You had to sit down with a spreadsheet and work this stuff out. And there was a few people doing it, but like,
right.
Some people make killings.
So the question I have then is, I think last week I said that Hydra stuff, and I looked at whatever it was. I think cryptographics. He had a bunch of charts, like flow charts and things.
Yeah.
Am I unfair to say that it looks like a Rube Goldberg machine where there's a lot of unnecessary
It's a little
moving
bit.
parts that
Yeah. I don't think it's unnecessary. They actually act in a pretty, like, I think a lot of it's not speculation. I think a lot of it's the behavior of the smart contracts.
Okay, so you think that
Like,
there's genuine the buy,
There's genuine, like,
but where does the yield come from? Like, in a sense, is it because it's inflationary, or is it because
so
of...
it's a matching of tokens, right? That some are hyper deflationary and some aren't. So some are like semi-inflationary that roll off at the end over like a year period. TitanX was like that, right? I think it's done or will come up to the point where it's done almost all of its inflation. Once you have all the inflation out, until it becomes profitable to mine again, the buy and burns after. So it's like almost zero inflation, and then you have buy and burns. That it does silly business to the price.
But we've seen with Zen, for example, that
it's a bit different than Zen. I don't think they're the greatest comparison, and I think they on the surface they look similar.
Yeah, well, just there becomes a point though where if it's always cheaper to mine it than it is to purchase it, then why would anyone buy it? And if that's the reason why charts go up is because people buy it, then the chart's not going to go up because no one's buying it. They're only mining it. So you see the problem there?
Wants to sell either. So like I see what you're saying, but now comes the ecosystem of different tokens as well.
Yeah. So then the only problem I have with that is like, so when you start with a coin and then say it starts to do poorly, and then you go, well, hang on, now we're introducing a new coin, and then you do the Itropa thing almost, where it's like, I mean, don't come up here, Itropa bros, but it's like where you go, check out this new coin that, you know, whatever the dev guy, I forget his name, Mikhail or whatever. But like the Itropa, they would just bring out a new coin, and then they would pair it with the liquidity, and then that coin would do really well.
Kind of like pump and dumps to benefit the ecosystem.
Well, it kind of works as long as you're paying attention, right? And then as long as you're moving into the next new thing and you're early to all the time. But if you're just like an investor who bought the very first whatever, you know, Itropa variant, that thing's probably gone to zero. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. No,
but like now they're about 50 coins
on the money to some extent about Itropa. I don't think it's apples to apples though. No.
It's that idea though that if I'm a little bit suspicious when coins start to create more and more coins, and then it's like they've almost abandoned the first one. And also to be fair to the Titan X guys. And that's the thing is I've got to be fair to them because I don't know anything about it, and also it seems like there's different founders involved. So obviously Jake Sharp was the Titan X guy. And then so is Hydra.
Eric and Jake X teamed up. So there's a dude called Eric. He's been a dev for a long time, and he's launched another one called Dragon X himself solo. Or I don't know if he was solo,
but it's not Jake though. It's not
Hydra. Jake is Jake Sharp and Eric, G1 Eric on Twitter.
Okay.
So they teamed up to make something that benefits Titan X and Dragon X. That's Hydra.
What's Hyper?
Hyper is Jake Sharp's like hyperinflationary that also deflates. But what it does is it takes, you got to think about the initial coin you have that you swap, that you put into the ecosystem, right? You put the initial coin you have that you put into the vending machine that behaves in a certain way, and then you get out your share of the inflation, right?
Right.
So with Titan X, there was an issue with a lot of the Ethereum that they were taking out was leaving the ecosystem, like fully gone. Like
Mm.
people were buying Lambos, people were paying their rent, whatever.
Yeah.
The ETH was leaving the ecosystem. So that introduced a problem. We need to capture that ETH back. And so
one question,
hyper-
why didn't they run this on PulseChain so that they could
Liquidity.
have done it with but they
Liquidity.
could have done wrapped ETH, right? Done the same
There was
thing.
things like that.
Because
but
the
they
problem
did-
is the gas fees, right? On Ethereum,
Yeah.
they're going to start to outweigh like your miners or whatever.
You have dudes on Ethereum with so much money that like it's just slightly different game in theory environment.
Okay.
At first I was pissed. I'm like, dude, you
It's a
were
lot of
in
gas. Yeah.
you're in the ecosystem. You were making, I'm talking about Jake Sharp.
Sharp.
I'm not
Yeah, yeah,
criticizing him.
Yeah.
I'm saying a flaw
But
with
he
him.
could have built it on
I
PulseChain.
saw him. He built his community basically originally by making RH ecosystem videos. And
Yes.
so like it felt like a backstab to be like, look, you've just gone and launched something on ETH and PulseChain's not even 6 months old yet. Like you could have taken this and you could have built on here and you've left us basically.
Yeah, it feels a bit like that. Yeah.
It did feel like that. And he copped a lot of crap for it. And like, I don't think a lot of it was warranted. But then he kind of explained that you just look at the liquidity of each ecosystem of both. And he said, I was targeting ETH players.
Yeah. There's a lot of wrapped
not-
ETH on PulseChain though.
There is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the amount that flowed in couldn't have happened on PulseChain. And there was
Okay.
times in the last 3 weeks where the net volume was higher in the TitanX ecosystem than on PulseChain.
Wow.
There was more
Okay.
money moving around the TitanX ecosystem than all of PulseChain. All of
Yeah,
it.
right. That's crazy.
So it's a clever play. And there's only something like I don't know the number, but there was like 3,000 wallets in this system too. Nothing.
But TitanX, you're saying now is not profitable.
TitanX is not profitable to mine. But if you
So
okay,
so at what point is this like Hydra going to be
Hydra? Yes. So
start being
Hydra
profitable?
I'll have to explain what Dragon X is first. So there was a 12-week period where you could mint this tiny inflationary token that is like the store of value of the ecosystem, right?
Right.
So this thing will never inflate again. And what this does is there's like publicly callable functions, and it takes TitanX and it takes it off the market. And you can only do it with Dragon X. And so it's like a store of value that has some behaviors that help pump up the price of TitanX.
Okay.
And to Hydra, this is another like much more sustainably inflatable coin. So they've taken out all the like whale bonuses. They've taken out. Sorry, can you hear? Is there anything in the background?
No, cool. Can't hear anything.
It is I'm definitely not doing it justice in the time I have, but
I'll put you on the spot, man. Look, I apologize.
No, I want to talk about it. Like,
explain the whole thing to me in 30 seconds. Because I've also been a bit lazy and I haven't looked into it. And also with PulseChain's been doing well. So then what was the I sort of thought it's opportunity cost.
If I can sell it the best, I would just say the value that it has had. There was some metric that was just better than the entirety of PulseChain.
Yeah,
so
the volume.
If I'm going to sell it, but I don't want a vampire attack either. I want us to.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's like, I don't want to be insinuating.
There will be. There's also a dude who made another one called Helios, and he's making like another one that's like an index of the tokens that will be on PulseChain as well. So there's a PulseChain dev in there building stuff on TitanX as well.
So I should say I don't have any TitanX or any Hydra or any of this stuff. It's like
evidently I'm in.
Because you know about it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, but so maybe I need to do a bit more research. But it's cool that it came out.
Yeah.
And my only concern, I guess, is the contract risk as well. If there's things that
Yeah.
got like a little
They're
bit of
good.
complexity.
They're triple audited, at least Titanx. And then the code is pretty much the same. That was audited again twice on Hyper. So you could say it's like by proxy 5 times audited. You know,
Oh, wow.
there is
Okay.
they do list in their documentation who audited it, what the report,
Okay.
some of the evidence in their Twitter
All right.
profiles.
Well, maybe I'll have to stop
as
talking
good
smack
as you
about
can
them then.
get. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've
I
been
think
a
they
bit
copped a
unfair,
lot
maybe.
of. No, I agree, and it's a little bit like a vampire attack as well. So I understand that. I understand, like they're like, you guys just sucked a bunch of value out of our ecosystem, and you're not. Yeah, I don't know, but if you think about like game theory chess move, 5D chess moves, it was a pretty clever one. What else have I got to say?
Jack's been killing
so
it, apparently.
you're
And
not.
What's this one? Eat is interested and just. Is that just a joke or?
It's pretty. I missed lunchtime, so maybe that's just a reminder.
Yeah. I'm fully looking it up. All my cousins got to eat. That's so funny. How much liquidity has this got? 10 grand. This is all my cousins got to eat. It looks like, is it a Tangang coin? I don't know. I probably shouldn't talk about it in case it's a full scam. All my cousins got to eat. That's pretty funny.
It's just like a premium.
He's just
gonna dump it when they need food,
and they're gonna literally rug it so that they can get tacos or something.
We're hungry over here.
Hey, we gotta eat.
I mean, that's
that's just funny. Reminds me of that Simpsons thing where it's like Homer makes this company. It's like Hyper Global something. And it's like an internet thing. Yeah. And then Bill Gates comes to buy him out. And he's like, buy him out, boys. And they just trash it, this thing. And he's like, well, you didn't think I got rich from writing checks, did you? So, yeah. But, yeah, I guess you got to eat. You got to rug a few people maybe. So maybe stay away from that one. Oh, there's a late entry. Hexadelic with the beers. Nice. Beers. I don't know how you guys say it over, or I don't know how other people say it in America, but we just go beer. That's it. All right, we should probably rock on, man, and you can have some beers and enjoy your weekend.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for coming on.
Fun one lined up.
And awesome. Yeah. Have a good weekend, man. Really appreciate coming on. And thanks to the chat. Thanks to Replay Gang and everyone else. And we'll see you guys next week. Okay. Rock on.